I guess the answer is they haven't yet put a screen up.
All right. Oh, uh-oh. So that was fantastic. I mean, it takes you a lot longer to drive across CD6, I'm sure, but we wanted to take you on a journey across one of the most beautiful parts of the country, really. And Nick Betts, our candidate, is here tonight. Hello, Nick. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for having me here, and thanks everybody for being here tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's great you're here. We're so excited. We really wanted to bring something special to tonight with some bluegrass music from Fincastle. We have Cheryl Lunsford here and Erin Lunsford. Welcome, Erin, and welcome, Cheryl. We'll have them performing for us later, but we really wanted to bring some soul to this fight for our nation. So we're so grateful to have you in the room. And also, if you were at the Women's Summit, we made a commitment to our rural girlfriends and friends and neighbors that we were going to raise those voices in other parts of Virginia. If we believe Virginia is our district, that means we have to help everybody, and that is how we become a better Virginia. So thank you for being here. And thank you for everybody being in the room tonight. I'm so excited to get started. We have tonight on the program, we will have Delegate Sam Rasoul. Sam, wave, say hello to everybody. We also will have Delegate Chris Hurst. I don't know if he's in the room yet, but if you are, say hello, Chris. And Frye is here. And she has a, just a long history. This is not new to her, where it's new to us, but she's been fighting for the rural areas forever. And so thank you, V, for being here, Chair of the Rural Caucus. And then we have Lindley Thorne from Harrisonburg, who's also very active and heads up the whole Democratic Party that way with Ian McNally. So thank you, Lindley, for being here. And also Andrew Whitley, special guest, Executive Director. Where are you, Andrew? Shout out. He is.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Andrew. Thank you for being here and supporting all the candidates. So without much further ado, as we say, I'm going to kick it over to your friend, Jennifer Kitchen, who is here. She's former candidate in 25, to let us, figure out and know a little bit about you, Nick. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
All right.
Okay, let me get rid of my spotlight. Hold on. Hold on.
That's fine. I can be Nick too.
I'm going to add you. There you are, friend. Ah. Oh, maybe Jennifer add in that we have also the special challenge.
Oh, absolutely. And I will let you know when we get to that special challenge. But hello from rural Virginia. I'm Jenny Kitchen. I'm the chairperson for the Augusta County Democratic Committee, and I'm a candidate for the House of Delegates. And here to talk to you a little bit about what it's like running in a rural district. Running in rural districts comes with a unique set of challenges, and one of the largest ones is figuring out, how do you communicate your message to folks who are not able to regularly and reliably connect to the world through the internet? There are a lot of people that live here that can't do what we're doing right now. They just don't have the internet capability. And that challenge has been amplified this cycle exponentially. And we're, trying to figure out how to navigate the world of COVID. And in previous cycles, I would talk to you about canvassing and how challenging that is in rural communities and how we have driveways a mile apart. But we haven't had to deal with that this year. What we're having to deal with is, how do we get our message to people? How do we get Nick's message to people? And another issue that we face as rural candidates is that all the issues that exist in urban communities also exist in rural communities. But as rural candidates, we're faced with having to address those issues through the lens of rural life. And that includes a lack of investment in basic infrastructure. And I'm going to ask Nick some questions that sort of get to the heart of some of those issues here in a minute, but I thought it would be fun to get started with some icebreakers, because I could sit here and give you Nick's bio, but I think it's important and it's a lot more fun to get to know candidates as people, and because when you get to know them as people, you understand that when you have issues, when you have problems, that you can go to them and talk to them, and they're there to help you out. So here we go. And this first question, you ready, Nick?
Ready.
Also comes with a challenge.
Okay.
All right. So, Nick Betts, what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
My favorite ice cream flavor is strawberry.
All right, y'all. And the first challenge is, anyone else out there whose favorite ice cream flavor is also strawberry? Kick $5 over to the Nick Betts campaign and let's help get him to DC. All right. You ready for the next one?
Ready.
This is my favorite one. Okay. If you could become an expert on something, on anything, what would it be?
I would say economics. And the reason being is because I think if you understand how the economy works, you can help a lot of people, working within the system, and you can make sure, folks have the resources they need to survive, as well as, the resources they need to prosper. And, I think that's really important, and that's something that I would, spend a lot of time when I have it, looking into.
Fantastic. Excellent. I think there are a lot of people who think that they are experts in the economy that are not. So I think that's great. So we're going to get a little bit more serious now and talk about some of the challenges that face rural communities here in the 6th Congressional District. And the first question is, what is your plan for helping our communities provide equitable education during these challenging times of COVID, but then also moving beyond that, helping create communities where we don't have students having to sit in fast food restaurant parking lots to connect to the internet to finish assignments?
We need to expand our broadband infrastructure here in the 6th District and throughout the United States of America. I mean, I liken it to really the highway system that was put into place, more than half a century ago. And, that was a big undertaking, but we did it. And honestly, the internet is the highways of the 21st century. Commerce is, conducted on the internet. People, sometimes have to do, let's say, healthcare in terms of, there's even virtual visits online some places, and I think that's something that maybe was happening more during the pandemic. People educate themselves on the internet. People work from home. So I think that really having broadband internet infrastructure is really the way in so many areas of life to make sure that people have the resources they need in today's modern economy, as well as to make sure that kids have the access to the resources they need to educate themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's become a fundamental right almost to communicate, right? And so I work for the Arc of Augusta, and so I work with people with developmental disabilities and intellectual disabilities. And through all of this, we found that community has been left behind, as they often are, in decision-making processes where we're finding now if we'd had the internet in place, they could have been participating in the larger community much more all along, and we would be in a better place now. So the question is, the disability community is consistently left out of making decision-making processes, even though it's been shown time and time again that when the disability community is well served, everyone benefits. So do you have a plan to specifically engage with the rural disability community and making sure that their needs are met and that they're able to live fulfilling and dignified lives?
Yes, one thing I try to always do is listen to folks if they have, things that they're telling me that they need. I try to make sure I listen and understand and, how I can and think about how I can help get those resources for them if elected to Congress. Some of the issues I've seen that are important are making sure that there's adequate resources and sufficient resources in education, whether that's K through 12, whether that's early child education or higher education, making sure that, police have proper training to deal with differently abled people. That's important as well. And making sure that we make sure to protect folks with pre-existing conditions in any healthcare legislation that we have. So those are some areas that I would definitely like to make sure that or try to advocate for.
Great. I want to say congratulations on your now endorsement.
Yay!
Yay! I'm always encouraged when male candidates seek out and then receive the endorsement of an organization that's focused on incredibly important issues to women's and folks with uteruses rights. Can you talk about a person in your life that has inspired you to be passionate about women's rights or impacted your views on women's rights in any way?
Absolutely. I was going to say my wife, Lindsay. She doesn't want to be on camera right now, but this is a tough question because there's a lot of women in my life that I really, have really impacted me. And I'll say, my wife, Lindsay, we're close to our 5th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we've actually been together for 12 years since we were 18 years old. So for most of our lives, we're both 30. So, we grew up together and, she's been here with me through, tough times and good times and bad times. I know when I was in the hospital a couple of times 10 years ago, she was always there. I had jobs about 6 years ago, consulting and substitute teaching where the income wasn't always flowing and, she was there to help me out when I needed it. And, we moved out here to Lexington, when I went to law school, and she came out here, got a job, and got promoted, and is the center manager for a durable medical equipment company. And so, she's a hard worker, and she's just great. And I wouldn't be where I am without her. And she's made a big impact on my life.
Wow,
that's fantastic. She is a great human.
Yeah.
You both are. So thank you for having this discussion with me, answering some questions. And I look forward to having more conversations with you, especially when you're in DC. And I'm going to kick it back over to Catherine, who's going to introduce Andrew Whitley.
Now, what we're going to do, Nick, thank you very much. So go ahead. So thank you so much, Jennifer. Awesome to see you. And then Nick, we're going to take a break and listen to some music, Robin. So we are here for music. We're also to meet Nick, and we will have the musicians start after some of our speakers. But enjoy Erin's mom, Cheryl Lunsford.
Hi, folks. Cheryl Lunsford from Roanoke, Virginia. Hi, Erin. Tonight, I'd like to do a song for you called Windy and Warm. Windy and Warm was a signature piece for both Chet Atkins and Doc Watson, great guitar legends. They wouldn't do a show without this piece. And you are an essential part of this campaign, and an essential part of whether this democracy stays free and democratic. Though it may seem a little windy and warm right now, let's work together and see if we can't change that come November, and for a perfect day and for a perfect tomorrow.
Cheryl, are you in the room? Wanna say hello to everybody? Where you at, girl? I don't see. I see. Where's Cheryl at? Let me find her. Anyways, Cheryl, I'll find her in a second. Cheryl is an award-winning guitarist. She is lives in Fincastle, Virginia. She's a songwriter, and she also now gives, she gives instrumental guitar lessons, and obviously gave birth to her lovely daughter, Erin, who will be here later to serve us up with some great folk music and bluegrass. So Cheryl, so glad you're here. If you want to unmute yourself and say hi, but if not, that's okay. So let's move on. I want to introduce our next guest up.
Hi, I'm here.
Hey, where'd you get?
I don't know. I was trying to figure out how to get on there.
Oh, you are. You're sort of.
I see my picture, but I couldn't. I had to unmute myself or something.
That's good. Well, so glad that you're here. And how is it? How is it in Fincastle? You said you're a little nervous over there with all the Trump signs around you.
Oh, they are awful. It is terrible. It makes me feel kind of ill inside to see those, to know how many people don't understand that our democracy is this close to just dissipating. It's very scary, and they don't listen to the same news that the rest of us listen to. It's very scary.
Well, we're glad you're here tonight. So we appreciate you being here, and we'll be looking forward to hearing Erin later. So thank you for showing up and doing some guitar
I do
stuff.
appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. And Nick, it's really great that Nick appreciates it too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Wonderful music, and thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that.
All right, so let's get some more of our speakers up, because you know we're long-winded over here. So what I'd like to do is have Andrew Whitley unmute yourself, and if you could just speak a few minutes. Let's find you. Here you are, Andrew.
Can you hear me?
Hey, yes, here you are. How are you doing?
Good. How are you all?
Great.
Wonderful. Well, I will try to be very brief. I know that you all we've got some good speakers coming up, and we want to hear from Nick more as well. For those of you all who don't know me, I'm Andrew. I'm from the district next door to the 6th, the 9th CD in Smith County, which is near Bristol. So I am very familiar with our friends out west and southwest, and so it's really nice to be here. I just wanted to quickly mention, I think that oftentimes when we're looking at the news, and when Cheryl, you mentioned when you're driving by and you're seeing these Trump signs, I think that we can kind of very quickly forget what a good campaign can do to even some of those Trump voters. And I just want to really quickly bring up a race that we all are probably familiar with last year that did such a good job with this down in Southwest Virginia. There was and B knows this race very well because she worked on it. There was a woman by the name of Dr. Starla Kaiser who ran a very specific niche campaign that talked about local issues. And that race, nobody gave her a shot. Nobody, she didn't get the support that she knew she wouldn't get when she said it. And we're working to try to make sure that we provide that a little bit more and be a little bit more active with DPVA to do that. But she, not only did she flip a county from red to blue that hadn't been flipped from red to blue, I think since 2008, when Senator Warner won it. She had a 19-point swing in her district, which is incredible. I'm getting chill bumps. So I just want to mention that, Nick talked about some of these local campaigns that he is going to work, or local issues that he's talking about. And I think that the power is still there and still with this race to make sure that we talk about those issues. That, broadband, we've talked about it until we're blue in the face, but now we're seeing the real life effects of it when we have to go into Walmart parking lot to get our kids to sign on to school, or what have you. So we are at the party are super happy that Nick is running. Nick, I drive out your way often. I try to go, and it's easier to be socially distant in the 6th and the 9th congressional districts. So I'm out your way a lot. I think I'm headed to Botetourt in a couple of weeks to do something. So I might see you there at one of their events. But thank you for running, and thanks for stepping up, and appreciate all that you're doing, and looking forward to having you be a representative in the 6th district again, and that'll help do what Joe Biden's doing, which is restoring the soul of our nation. So thank you. And also too, I would be remiss in saying that I've never been to Zoom events that is this lively and entertaining as Network Nova. So y'all know how to rock it out. So
thank you, Andrew.
Thanks for the invite. And I'm going to stick around until I have to jump on to another call, but thanks everybody for jumping on, and thanks for the invite.
Thanks.
No, thank you. And I have to say that we're thrilled that you were put in, that you got this role. That meant a lot, I know, to a lot of people that, with your background, to understand the world needs. We're just learning that just been around for a couple years now, but we went around to ask the candidates what they needed. And so we appreciate you supporting Nick and other candidates. So thank you. And next up, that we have Delegate Chris Hurst here to say a few words about Harrisonburg, what he's doing up there, and his point of view. So let me, where is he at?
I'm here.
Here you go. Let me put the spotlight on you, buddy.
Great. Well, hey, I appreciate Catherine, everybody from Network Nova, Stare, who just do an incredible job continuing to engage with people from all across the Commonwealth. And Nick, thank you so much for stepping up to the plate and running. It is an incredible experience to run for office, and something that I have found to be very rewarding, and especially in our area, running as a Democrat, knocking on doors of people who either have never had their door knocked on by a candidate, had previously voted Democrat but don't now, and are now moving back because of the last 4 years we've seen under our current president. And I think that there is a real magic to running in a rural area, trying to really convince the people that live in our districts that you will go to Richmond, you will go to Washington, and you will be that loud voice for them. And I really think that part of our message right now is trying to say that we are not going to accept the status quo anymore. We are going to finally tackle and achieve and complete some of these issues that have been talked about for far too long. Some that we're seeing in the news, every single day now with criminal justice reform, and there certainly is a rural component to criminal justice reform when you look not only at race, but also socioeconomic factors. That means that our voices are important on that issue, just as anybody else's voices are important. We have a voice and a role to play. And then also, as Andrew talked about, broadband internet. Thank goodness we have a Democratic majority in the House and Senate in Virginia right now, because we can actually end the desire for everybody to have reliable broadband internet when the GOP had control for 25 plus years and they never did anything about it. Now we're doing virtual Zoom calls for the House of Delegates, and who are the only people that are having issues getting online are the same Republican delegates who voted down efforts to increase broadband internet for the past 2 decades. So I think people in rural areas are just tired of being pandered to by all sides. They're tired of not seeing these issues get solved so that we can move on to other ones. And I really think that kind of energy and enthusiasm is able to cross across different ideologies and be able to build, I think, a legion of people who are going to be turning out to the polls and voting Democratic here in November that haven't voted in the past. I think it's really important for us to be bold and to really not waver. That's one of the major things we see with rural candidates. What do you do? Do you be yourself? Do you say what you truly believe? Or do you try to placate in order to garner extra votes? And certainly, we all can have nuanced policy platforms that are not in lockstep with whatever the party is. But I have not found there to be a whole lot of benefit of trying to persuade unpersuadable people to want to vote for progressive policies. And so what do? I think we need to be firm, and we need to be convicted, and we need to be leaders in our own community to get the kind of people that would vote for us on policy, but not necessarily because they think that we wouldn't be able to get it done. They don't think that we have the backbone. They don't think we have the energy. They don't think we have the stamina. And they think we might capitulate. But I think what you're seeing from many Democratic institutions now, and from Democratic candidates like Nick who are running, is that we're saying we do need a Green New Deal, and we'll deal with the circumstances and the issues that come up with that. We need criminal justice reform, and we will deal with the circumstances that come up with that. And we need broadband internet. We need to get our economy going again and solve this COVID crisis. We have so many things that we just need to do and be unabashed in our belief of. And that's something that I know Nick has. It's something that Delegate Rasoul has had and has been such a wonderful leader at the beginning of this recent surge of getting new Democrats elected to office all throughout the I-81 corridor. We need to make sure that we keep up the pressure and we keep up the attention because even if we move into a new dynamic here in the future where Democrats start to have some more control again, now we need to make sure that those we send to our capitals are actually held accountable for doing what we're talking about in wonderful Zoom events like this one. So I appreciate again the opportunity to be able to come on, to listen to great music, to be able to see Nick, and to be able to talk with all of you about what our priorities are, not only as Democrats, but rural Democrats, and making sure that we continue to plant that flag of we matter in rural areas. Even if you can't see us now, you will see us in the future. So thank you all very much for having me on tonight. Appreciate it.
Chris, I have to say that I'm glad we're recording that. I think we need to replay that over and over and over, that loop. What you said was just incredible, uplifting. I don't know about everybody else in the room, but You really nailed it. I think we have to say what we believe, because when we do what's good and what's right, it really works. I mean, it really is our values. And so I appreciate you coming in and, you know, making that happen. But I want to pop on, if you want to stay, we have Lindley here, who is also from your district. I know you know very well. Lindley, do you want to unmute yourself and are you on video?
Yep, sorry.
Yeah, I know, you disappeared for some, like I had you right in my sight. So Lindley, welcome. And you're from Harrisonburg. Why don't you say a few words? And we're so glad you're here, running the Democratic Party over there.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I am in Rockingham County, which I like to make clear. I am in my little farm just north of town. And yeah, I've been doing a variety of things to advocate for Democratic candidates over the last few years. But more than the candidates, it's more about the values that we share and that we're all fighting for this year. And I sometimes feel like I stumbled into the wrong room. I didn't intend to be involved in politics. I meant to be a farmer. And from my farm stall in Broadway, Virginia, I was seeing a lot of folks who couldn't afford my locally raised food, not with the wages that they were receiving. And so many farmers backing away from that market, unable to participate anymore, unable to feed their families. And Democrats really hadn't interacted out here. We hadn't been engaging in very necessary conversations that we needed to have with people to let them know that we care, and we do, and that our policies would benefit them. So we started to have a table at the farmers market, me and a few friends, and we just listened to people. We invited them to come sit down and talk to us about the issues, and that was rough. And we learned a lot, though, through those conversations. And a lot of what I learned was that Republicans weren't really telling them how to solve their problems. They were telling them who to blame for it. Mm-hmm. And that was us. And it was simply because we weren't there, but we are now, right? And we have been for a while. And I want to thank the first time that I met Stair Calhoun, Sam Rasoul was actually introducing us. Frye was there. It was the beginning of a rural caucus meeting, and Sam connected us, and we hopped in a car with Linda Allen, who's also here, and we drove up to the top of Bent Mountain, where Red was sitting up in her tree to protect her family's farm and all of our water from destruction by the Mountain Valley Pipeline. We're still fighting that pipeline, but I want to point out that we had a huge victory this year, a truly massive victory in the form of the rejection and the cancellation of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, which was absolutely huge and drew really important attention to the community of Union Hill, pointing out that rural Virginia is not just white. And I want to just really show my appreciation to Nicholas for stepping up in this moment. I want to be clear that this is an act of courage that he is taking on for all of us in this moment of international pandemic, and a moment where we are going through a new civil rights moment. To run for Congress, to take a knee on the streets of Lexington, Virginia, the site where Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson are buried and steeped in a shameful history of our country as we try to work to dismantle that. That's truly inspiring, Nick, and thank you so much for doing this for all of us. We truly appreciate it. I encourage everyone to donate everything that you possibly can. From the coordinated campaign, we are calling thousands of voters all the time. I know where to find you. You'll be hearing from me, because look, y'all, the first ballots in Virginia are going to be cast in 9 days. 9 days. You want to talk about election day being 55 days away from now? No, it starts in 9 days, and we need your help. It's really important that we make these calls, that we keep saying Nicholas Betts' name, and that people know that decency is on the ballot. And no matter where you are in the 6th district, you get to vote for decency for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Senator Warner, and Nicholas Betts. We've got to say his name to as many voters as we can in the 9 days before the first ballot is cast, and the following 55 days, so we can do the best we can and keep building up in our communities, and hopefully send Nick to Washington. So thank you so much for your time. I will drop my email in the chat. I will be calling you for a shift very soon. Please support Nick with your dollars and your time.
Well, that's great. And I will say to you, with your great calling out for funds, we have somebody here, anonymous donor, was able to match. If you want to do a donation, after these great speeches by Lindley, Chris, and just know what's at stake for Nick, we have somebody that will match your donation. So if you want to just do $10, $25, just so you know, before we start the show here soon, that we will match that donation up to $2,800. So just, it's the time to do it. Why not, as we say? Why not? So we have our last speaker, and then we're going to get it over to Erin so we can get our bluegrass and folk music going for you all. So V, let me get you on the screen here, V, and then we'll toss it over to Erin. Where you at, V? Let's find you.
Hey, hey everybody.
Hey, girl. Hey,
Hey.
welcome. Yay, V.
Hey. Thank you everybody so much for being here. You know, with all of the craziness that we heard come down today from the Washington Post and the New York Times on what's going on in DC, now more than ever, we need to support candidates like Nick who are speaking to rural issues. We need to address, as we have been over the last 7 years, veterans and military families. In Virginia, we have a plethora of veterans and military families that are in our districts in rural localities. They are our neighbors. They're the people we go to church, synagogue, and mosque with. They count. They are not losers, and they are not suckers, and they are trying to live their lives. So thank you, Nick, for stepping up to fight for them. And as Lindley pointed out, we have had a lot of success in regard to water rights, which is a huge rural issue. We need to keep fighting. And for rural localities, sometimes it does feel like we're there by ourselves. But if we talk to our neighbors about the issues that matter to them, if we are not the other, if we are the people that they send their kids to school with our kids, if we are the people we go to church, synagogue, or mosque with, these are our neighbors. And so when we talk to them about the issues that matter to them, the kitchen table issues, like the fact that a lot of them don't have broadband in the time where we are going to school at home, from home. Those are issues that are daily issues for our rural voters. Also, things like the agricultural issues, but not just that, because our rural communities in Virginia also have coal mines. They also have fishing localities. All of these things, we have to talk to people about the issues that matter to them. And I know Nick is doing that. And I know when he goes to Congress, he will join with our wonderful delegation and help Abigail and Elaine and Jennifer and Bobby Scott, all of these wonderful Democrats, talk about the issues and help us with the issues that matter to us. If 90% of Virginia is rural by location, we have to talk to each other, and I know Nick will do that. So please support him. The cost of running a campaign that is for rural localities is a whole lot less. You get more bang for your buck in Roanoke than you do in Nova. So a little bit goes a long way, but more is better. And we are very, very grateful to the Badass Women of Northern Virginia for pairing with rural committees and helping. The sister committee program has been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. We could not do it without you. And we thank the people who come down from Northern Virginia to work rural, and not anymore door to door, but now the postcard campaign, buying signs. Now, signs do matter in rural. Your neighbors do look to see, they don't vote, but your neighbors do look to see who you have a sign for. So what are we doing? Rural Democrats are fighting for all the issues that matter to rural constituents. The other thing that we have to talk about is rural health care. And I know you all know about the horrible situation in rural health care. We've got to fight for that. We need access to telemedicine because that counts in a rural locality that doesn't have a hospital. So please, whatever you can do to help our rural candidates, help Nick
Yep.
help Senator Warner, and obviously, of course, help Joe and Kamala get it done. And thanks, everybody.
Thank you, V. Oh, that's way to bring it home. So thank you very much. And I'm going to say to you that these speakers tonight Nick, I feel like we're having a party for you. I mean, we really are trying to just build you up. And I think these issues are just what brings us all together, because we really do care about Virginia, and you have to care about Virginia is my district, as we say.
Absolutely.
So let's get this, so look at me, just cutting you right off, because we're going to go right to some music to get our spirits going with Erin. I'm going to spotlight you, dear. Let's find that. Where are you?
Can you see me?
Hold on one second. There you are. Oh, you're as cute as in person. I mean, and I just talked to you on the phone in your video. You're just awesome, Leah.
Oh, thanks.
Beautiful.
Thank you
And
for having me.
You know, if I could say a few things about you, Erin, how I met your mom. She's so kind and generous. I called looking for a musician. I found her in the Roanoke, like, let's call it the Yellow Pages. And she said to me, you know what? You need to talk to my daughter. She is just, I made her. I taught her everything I know. And she just would really just said it as a mom would. And I know you have a new album out, Damsel, and we'd love to hear a little bit about you. And just, I'm going to hand the show over to you. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Knock 'em dead, Erin.
What'd you say, Mom?
Knock dead, Erin.
Oh, thanks, Mom. Hi, folks. My name's Erin Lunsford. I was born in Roanoke, and I lived in Botetourt County until I was 18, and I did fly the nest around then. So I'm not based there anymore, but I go back all the time. I was just there this past weekend. So the delegate for that area is still really important to me, because all of my family lives in Botetourt and Roanoke. So I'm happy to meet you, Nick. Thank you for doing this and for everything you stand for.
Thank you. Thank you for being here to play wonderful music. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I'm gonna try to get us back on track. You let me know, Catherine. I might just play a couple here so I can pick us up with the time. But this one I want to play for you guys first is about my younger brother, who is a firefighter and EMS worker in Roanoke City, and he still lives in Botetourt County. And I wrote this about growing up together and the fights we would have as children. It's called Virginia Brother. I got a brother, he's got a heart of gold. He's been putting out fire since he was 9 years old. He's not afraid to wait it out, make sure that flame burns cold. You've got clay, you've got clay under your nails. You wouldn't let him lay, you wouldn't let him lay still. You wouldn't believe us that his face had gone pale. My Virginia brother, my childhood friend, I'll follow you into the fire around every bend. Your freckles always showed up more than mine. We made beds in the needles of the tree line. Thanks for every time you fixed my tire, never let me spend a dime. That time you cut through my lock. There were no secrets for
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm
Oh,
muted,
yeah.
but oh my God, everybody's clapping. That is beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, keep it, yeah.
I'm gonna do, Catherine, should I do just one more and then pass it off to Sam?
I think you know, we're good. I think go ahead and do your two more. I think
Do two
people
more?
want to
Okay.
listen. I think people are excited to hear you.
Well, that last one is on my album. I have one right here so you can look at it. But
Yeah, tell us about your album coming up.
this is my album that actually released in April, but because of the pandemic, my whole tour was canceled. All of the promotion around it was canceled. So it was a bummer, but this is The Damsel, and you can stream it anywhere that you listen to music, like Spotify or iTunes or anything like that. So I'll play you another song from The Damsel. Let's see. We'll do a couple more.
Yes, people want to hear you for sure.
This next one, I gotta give shouts out to my mom for teaching me this rhythm. It's kind of a samba rhythm that she showed me on the guitar. So my mom, Cheryl Lunsford, who's in the video here, or in the Zoom call, owns a business in Fincastle, Virginia that's called the Guitar Dojo. So she teaches guitar primarily, but she also teaches voice and bass and mandolin and banjo and, you know, pretty much everything. But anyways, she taught me guitar. And this was a rhythm that she taught me early on when she got really into gypsy jazz. So it's kind of a crossover gypsy jazz folk song because folk music is our roots as well. But okay, this is called Whatever You Like. Rosy and ablaze, my thoughts would run. I wanna feel, I want to trust someone. You can take whatever you like, just let me keep your love. You seem to be drawn to blues, but I've got the fever. I've got the most to lose. You can take whatever you like, just let me keep your love. You can take whatever you like, just let me keep your love. And if you feel so strong, then keep them, 'cause without you the feelings blur, they blur. You can take whatever you like, just let me keep your love. You can take whatever you like, just let me keep your love.
Woohoo! Oh my God.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Guys, I'm gonna do one more for you. So it's funny being a musician and having political views. because so many people who want to see music are like, oh, I don't want them to talk politics during the show, which, okay, I get that. But also part of being an artist is speaking your truth and calling attention to things that you think deserve attention. So this next song I wrote after attending the Women's March in DC in January 2017. Did anybody else go?
Yeah,
I see some hands waving. So that was a really pivotal moment for me and my personal involvement with politics. Or, you know, I don't really think of women's rights as being a political thing, but it is, I guess. So going to the Women's March was a huge deal for me. I was really scared going into it. And then it ended up being beautiful and unifying and so powerful. And so I wrote this song about feeling like, wondering, am I on the right side of things? Like looking back 5 years from now or 10 years from now, will the Women's March be frowned upon? Probably not. You know, anytime there's push for more radical justice, it's always scary. So this was a big turning point for me. The song is called Neighbor's Eye, and it's about loving your neighbor. And this song is on my record that I just released. We fill the streets with tears, force you to wade through all our fears. We're crying out. We fill the hall with voices. We won't stop rejoicing till you hear us calling out. Shoulders sore from fists held high, boots on the ground, but our spirits fly. How will I know if I'm on the right side? I'll tell by the love in my daughter's eye. Faint of heart need not apply. If it looks like truth in your mind's eye, then speak it aloud. Brother, we must resist. Sister, we must persist. This is no easy road we're going down. Shoulders sore from fists held high, boots on the ground, but our spirits fly. How will I know if I'm on the right side? I'll tell by the love in my mother's eye. It's so easy to fear, but one heart at a time, we can spread the love from your eyes to mine. Shoulders sore from fists held high, boots on the ground, but our spirit flies. How will I know if I'm on the right side? I'll tell by the love in my neighbor's eye.
Oh my gosh. I know I'm speaking for everybody here. Your voice is incredibly lovely, and you just gave us all, just filled up our spirits with so much hope. So thank you, and I'm so glad to meet you, and I know I'm gonna hopefully have you back again with us. And I hope everybody looks at our album, and if you want to put the link in the chat, Erin.
Sure, I could do that.
Yeah. So Sam, meet Erin and Cheryl. Sam's from Roanoke. Do you know Delegate Rasoul?
Hello, everyone. Hello, Cheryl. That was wonderful, a tough act to follow for sure. But everybody should recognize the talent that's coming out of the Noke. So we're very proud. I've got it written down right here to make sure I go and buy an album. So thank you so much for being with us and for trying to help us celebrate a future victory for Nick Betts for Congress. You all ready for it? Yes, yeah, I see lots of hand movement.
I'm putting Nick on the spotlight over here. Nick, want to unmute yourself? Maybe you and Sam could do a little bit of, Sam, if you want to, what you're good at is pulling it all together and then handing it over to Nick to thank everybody. And I know that we went a little bit almost up to time, but stay with us because, you know, with Sam on deck and Nick still here, we have a lot of things to say. So,
well, a few things.
That's the end of the show.
I got to mute some people.
Before I hand it off to Nick for a final closing, I wanted to thank the Women's Summit, Network Nova, all the wonderful work that you're doing to spotlight and make sure that all of Virginia remembers all of Virginia. And we know it's not easy. You put a lot of energy into it, and thank you for continuing to reach out. People like Stacy Snyder, who's on this, make that intentional outreach, which is very important because people see how we treat the rest of Virginia, and they wonder in different moments what will we be doing for them. So really, thank you. Jennifer Kitchen, you see her, if you remember her bumper sticker, I think it was in the video earlier, Rule, Real, Ready. I love it, so much energy. People like Lindley, so many others who have invested their heart and soul into this region. We heard from V and Chris Hurst earlier, and Andrew, so many people coming out of this area wanting to make sure that people like Nick are successful as we move forward. But, for me, it comes down comes back to people. So I want to share with you two quick stories. I had this wonderful supporter when I ran for Congress in 2008 in the 6th Congressional District, so I feel Nick's pain deeply. My wife wasn't interested in being in the spotlight either. We were relative newlyweds. So we would drive up and down 81, which was a crazy time, but it was fun back in 08, Obama's first run. And there was a wonderful person by the name of Beverly Thompson in Augusta County. And she was in Deerfield, which is in western Augusta County. And Deerfield, all 4 people in Deerfield, but they have a Tasty Freeze. So that's where you stop when you want to grab some ice cream when you're in western Augusta County. And she was just a wonderful supporter and pounded away, got all kinds of signs for me out in Augusta County. And in a tough area, in a pretty red area, as Jennifer knows. And fast forward, that's 08, fast forward to 2018. And the news came from the Augusta County Democratic Committee that Beverly Thompson had stage 4 cancer. And this was, we were in this big election cycle in 2018, as you remember. And an email went out saying Beverly needs a ride to the polls. Now, I live about an hour and a half from Deerfield, so it's not right down the road. But with somebody who was probably in their final months, and it was, I wanted to take a trip down memory lane. So in 2018, I went and gave her a ride to the polls. And when I got there, she had a surprise for me. And this was something that she had created in 2008, this mirror with my logo on it. And she had kept it all these years, and she was wheelchair bound by the time I got to her in 2018. And she passed it along to me, and we traded some wonderful stories. And I got to help her make one of her final votes before she passed away in January 2019. But it's people like that that carry you, those stories along the way, because it's tough campaigning Western Virginia. It's not easy. But you're carrying their torch along the way. Another story with a little more levity was when I was knocking on the door of this young voter in Roanoke County. He opened the door, and he was young, maybe in his 20s. And he said, some of you have heard the story before, and I gave him the spiel. And look, Senator Obama, Governor Warner are running for president senator. I'm running for Congress. I'd love to earn your vote. Yada, yada, yada. I gave him the spiel, and then he's like, okay, I'll vote for you. But I ain't voting for Obama. I said, why? He said, he's a Muslim. And there was a pause, an awkward pause, and I explained to him, actually, President Obama, or Senator Obama, is a good Christian man, but I'm a Muslim. And so he was taken aback, because that might have been the first time he's ever had a conversation with a Muslim American. And turns out we had a lot more in common than he might have thought, and we made that connection. Issues very rarely win elections. It's really more about the intentionality of being there, being present for people. They want to know that you care. You care enough to listen, to take what they have to say into account, not so much whether or not you agree. And I think we've lost a little bit of that, but hopefully with what we're doing here, what we've seen in the rural ground game, with your candidacy, Nick, we can continue to do some of that. So Nick, my best advice to you, brother, before I turn it over to you for some final comments is, go love up on the people as hard as you can, and make sure that, you show them you care, because you're doing that for all of us, and we really appreciate it. And to the rest of my friends who are here and helping Nick along the way, take it from someone who's has those battle scars, just like Jennifer and so many others. Thank you so much for investing your time and treasure into Western Virginia and to some of these areas that need us to do a little bit more listening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Betts.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for those inspirational words, and thank you to all the wonderful speakers that were here tonight and the amazing musicians. Thank you to Network Nova for everything you're doing. Thank you to Postcards for VA. I saw in the chat. I get those updates every week, and I'm amazed at how hard y'all are working, and thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who came here tonight in support of my campaign. Thank you to everybody who's donated to my campaign. Your contributions are going to be used to get our message out, to fight hard for education, for healthcare, for environmental protection, and for broadband. We are going to fight hard to make sure that the people of the 6th District and the citizens of the United States of America have the resources they need to pursue the American dream and get through these tough times. So many people are having a tough time right now, and we need to help our friends and neighbors out and make sure that we all have what we need, to pursue our dreams. So I want to thank you again for being here tonight, and I appreciate everything that everybody's doing. Thank you so much for the support.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nick. So I appreciate you being here, and I can't wait till we actually get to meet in person, friend Nick. So tonight, before we close out, we have some great announcements about what Network Nova is going to be doing along with the Grassroots Coalition. We have a big kickoff called Vote Early Win. And Dennis, who's here tonight, Dennis Orsinger, has designed this lovely, great website you can see on the screen, and we'll put it in the chat where you can find it. But we have this big kickoff. We have 45 days to get rid of 45. Woo! And like Lindley said, early voting starts in this weekend. So we are kicking off the Vote Early Win, kicks off September 18th, goes for 45 days. We have the craftivism we want you to put signs in your car, signs in your yard, homemade, or you can go to Network Nova. We have car magnets for sale. We also will do these voter challenges that you'll be able to tag yourself and say, I'm voting in honor of John Lewis or Sam Rasoul, and tag away, because we want to make sure that people know in Virginia you can start voting, and it starts this weekend. And so we're trying to get that initiative out. Also, we're going to have some drive the votes, where we'll have people drive with signs on their cars getting out the vote. And we have our big one on October 17th. We hope to get all Virginia out for a drive the vote. We're not calling caravans. That word is like, no, we're calling it drive the vote. And that's really about voter awareness, and it could be really nonpartisan too. And then volunteering. So you'll find everything. Volunteering to get out the vote. What we need is poll workers, as we all know. So we hope you all sign up. Sign your kids up to work at the polls, election watch people. Get with Andrew Whitley's talked about the Democratic Party has phone banking, texting. We know we're all doing these initiatives, but we are really trying to push this vote early win. And it starts this weekend and next weekend. And then Network Nova will be hosting a big program with Resistorhood. We'll have a watch party of Resistorhood, the movie. And we'll also talk about the campaign and try to make it really big that everybody does this together across Virginia. Who will you tag? Hopefully get some good ideas. The big kickoff, September 18th. And Stair, you had one event that Nancy wanted to get out of Constitution Day on September 17th that you wanted to let everybody know.
Thank you, Catherine. Let me just put this, I'll put the link in the chat here. This is for September 17th. This is a discussion about getting money out of politics. So this is one of the things that American Promise does, and it's going to be another lively discussion on this. I've got the link here, and I will put the title here as well. Thank you.
I love if you noticed, Stair has the CD6 that we had from our very first Women's Summit behind her, and it's our signature. We have these great banners. So we have the kickoff on September 18th. We'll put in the link, and let's talk about the money. My friend, who's the anonymous match donor? Who wants to come forward, and do we make our Goldenite for Nick? Who is that lovely person?
Well, guess what?
Woo, what?
Surprise, surprise. It's me. Let me get myself. I got you spotlighted. I can't find myself. Anyway, Nick, we want to get those yard signs for you. Okay, so we're gonna pledge over $2,800 from Network Nova, and we're going to get you those yard signs. So everybody give a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, who the anonymous donor, we know who that is. That's our, Stair has went out to the rural caucus, and you helped years ago with Robin, and this past year, I think you went, right? So I think you guys went.
Yeah, our last trip was this year, early this year, before we were quarantined.
Right. And what we did the first year is planting blue seeds, where we drove all the way out to the end of 9. I didn't, but Holly Hazard and a bunch of people took cars out there to help the candidate. I'm blanking on her name, but anyways, okay, we want to let you go. You know, you have dinner to eat, and we just want to say, give everybody a group hug. We love you, Nick. We'll stay in touch. Jennifer, all the guest speakers, Cheryl out in Fincastle, my friend. I made a new friend, and Erin in Richmond. Please look up their music. You want to learn how to play guitar or mandolin? Call the dojo in Fincastle. Also,
hey,
Sam Rasoul.
Let's take a minute. Everybody turn on your video. Everybody
turn on your video. Let's say goodbye to everybody.
I'm going to take a couple of screenshots.
Erin, you want to play us a little guitar out? Just play some guitar out.
Play some guitar out. And
let's all just clap together. Let's unmute yourself and make noise. Erin, let's go.
There you go.
Yay! Hey! Come on, Cheryl. Woo!
Great.
Vote early, vote off.
Vote early. All right, thank you for being here. I feel like I should have my own country show. Thank you for being here. Love all of our friends. All right, good night, everybody. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you all.
everything.
Thank you for this.
Just remember, we didn't play actually any real bluegrass because you probably would have left. But we'll get
Oh,
to
No,
we
no,
love
no.
bluegrass.
No,
We
no,
love
no.
it.
Yeah.
Look at Vicky's all sad. She went.
I'd love to hear some good bluegrass.
High on that mountain, tell me what do I see? Bear tracks, looking back at me. No, you don't want to really hear it.
Yes. You got 23 people. Let's go, Cheryl. Close it out.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Erin, still there? Wish that I was on old Rocky Top down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bills. Once I had a man on Rocky Top, half man, the other half cat. Wild as me, yet sweet as soda pop, I still dream about that. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee.
You know, that's
Y'all
why
have a great evening.
that's
Thank you.
why you always stay to the end in a network that
Oh, great.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Vicky, for that push.
I want to tell Nick, can I tell Nick something about the broadband?
Yeah.
Fincastle, I lost business a month or so ago. They rerouted around little Fincastle here. And I wrote the Roanoke Times a editorial about it, and they did print it. And then I got the next day 500 or so email spams.
Oh, wow.
So they got me back, didn't they? But what causes a business to reroute around a town? Just I pay for high-speed internet, broadband, whatever. I've paid for it, and yet they have the power to do that. So when you're looking at broadband and small areas, remember that it's the corporations that actually. Erin, my daughter's telling me to stop talking here.
No, it's good. I think.
Remember that it's much more than just getting it to the area. You can get it to the area, but if a company has the power to reroute around you when it wants to, when the traffic's too much for its business to handle. So we have to approach the problem a little bit from the corporations too.
Absolutely.
I'm putting you on the spotlight, Nick and Sam.
Yeah, I put my email address in the, and you can also, I'll put my personal cell phone number, contact me. If you have a problem with the actual firms that put this stuff in, it's a bit of a racket. So
a racket.
That's my point.
We'll fight it together.
The days that I needed the internet and they rerouted me, I mean, what?
So Nicholas, that's a really good story for you, and you should get on it.
I will, and I put my phone number in there.
Don't list your email on there. You may get spammed the next day.
I'm used to it.
That's my personal number. So if you have any issues, give me a call.
I will.
Thank you for sharing that with me. And
so far, it's been since the editorial and the spam. I'm okay.
I think it's a really great thing to look into for your campaign, Nick, and something to really go.
Well, it is. It's not just getting it to the areas, but if other people have control over rerouting.
That's right.
Because one of the things I think is, we're going to need to, I think, spend federal dollars to get the infrastructure put in. But at the same time, we got to make sure if we put the infrastructure in, if it's private companies that do it, that there's penalties in the legislation for rerouting and not Yeah, so we're good. So that's a good point, and thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's great. Look at that. Like we go all night. Well, I'm going to sign off because I know my team probably.
Thank you for doing a great job, Catherine.
I hope we catch up again. I really would love to just have some coffee in the morning with you or something one day. We will catch up. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you all. Bye.